Happy Thursday of week 2. So week 1, we spoke about Thyroid Thursday, and I figured that I would keep the educational talks about hormones to Thursdays. So today I want to talk about estrogen. So most of you are starting to realize that the fact is your hormones are at the root cause of your issues. Whether that be weight loss that you've had struggled achieving, or energy, or sex drive, or all of the things that you think may have been, I'm eating too many calories or whatnot. They're all hormones. And I ultimately, at the end of this group that I am coaching you through, I want you to understand that there's no right or wrong way to eat, but you have to understand that the food that you eat has consequences on your hormones. And so today we're going to talk about estrogen. So estrogen is one of those, and for those of you that are men, this still applies to you as well, because you also make estrogen. And the foods that you eat can be causing you to be estrogen dominant as well. So this term, estrogen dominance, this may or may not be the sole hormone that is your problem, why you haven't been able to lose weight, why you've been bloated, maybe why some fibroids are happening, because I know a lot of you suffer from female type stuff like fibroids. Estrogen dominance is something that in medical school, I wasn't taught about, but this is something that is real, that ultimately you have to understand the food and drinks that you're eating and the toxins that you're being exposed to could potentially be causing your estrogen dominance. So let's start off with, what does that mean? So that means that our body makes all of these hormones, right? And in theory, when we get the sleep that we are designed to get, when we feed the body with the fuel that we were designed to be fed, when we are doing the activities, i.e. movement, because humans were not meant to be sedentary, when we're doing all of the things in which God designed us to do, our hormones are in this happy balance, right? And as you guys are starting to learn, the unhappy balanced hormone state leads to all sorts of stuff, like problems with weight gain or difficulty losing weight. It leads to other hormonal type stuff that can lead to anxiety, all of the things that we've been talking about, right? So estrogen and progesterone are two of the sex hormones that are supposed to be in this nice balance. They balance each other out. But when we eat certain foods and we are exposed to certain toxins, that balance becomes out of whack. And the balance of too much estrogen to progesterone ends up leading to all sorts of badness. So legit, the fact is that you can make a few tweaks to what you're eating, and all of a sudden estrogen dominance starts to get better. And it actually doesn't take that long. But what you have to understand is that a lot of these things you're being exposed to just once a week or twice a week it's keeping you in an estrogen dominant phase, okay? So let's talk meat. Now, you guys know I'm not a proponent of vegetarianism or veganism. I believe that we were omnivores and we were meant to eat both animals and plants. That being said, the animals that we are eating now are not the animals that humans have been eating for the 2.5 million years that we've been here. I have one lady who is on Instagram who lives right next to a feedlot, and she drives by every day, and she sent me a few pictures. And the fact is that conventionally raised meat, specifically red meat, is bad. It's really bad. And the first time she sent me those pictures, she was like, I wish everyone would understand where their meat is coming from. And let me tell you that if you are one of the select few people that can afford to eat at bougie places, I promise you that their meat, unless it is stated that it's grass-fed, grass-finished, I promise you it's conventionally raised. I don't care if the price is higher or if it's, a certain kind of Angus beef, like that doesn't mean anything. The average cow is given 6 different hormones so that it helps basically make them fatter and be able to sell at a higher price. And guess what? Those hormones get into your body and tell your body hormonal signals. And so going meatless oftentimes helps people, and meaning red meatless, because the conventionally raised meat is jacking with your estrogen levels, okay? So this is why the once a week trip to whatever restaurant that you go to that you're like, it's just once. Those little cheats, if you will, are truly keeping you in an estrogen dominant stage. I've gotten to a place, and it's been this way a long time. Every now and then I will eat red meat from a restaurant that I know is not grass-fed, grass-finished. But it's very rare. So what that means is that when I go out to eat, I am looking for, like, for example, we were in St. Charles last week and we went to a restaurant, and the only protein source, animal protein source that I knew was quality was the wild salmon salad. And so that way I knew that I wasn't getting animal protein that was full of toxins and antibiotics and hormones and all of that kind of stuff that ultimately gets into my body and tells my body these signals, right? Alcohol. I hate to tell you guys this because I love me a margarita. I love a good glass of like a French martini. I enjoy alcohol. But I do know that, especially once we hit about 35, all of the hormonal changes that happen in our bodies, alcohol is much higher, has a higher likelihood of putting you into estrogen dominance. So even if that's a drink or two a week, and that's typically what I do. So when I am on point, I don't drink alcohol. And it's a choice. And I never want anyone to have the I can't have this. Yes, you can have it. Just know that there are consequences that you will potentially face. And I know that there's a few people on here that have history of breast cancer that is receptive to estrogen, that has the estrogen receptors. So that is something that you 100% need to weigh into your choice of drinking alcohol or of eating conventionally raised meat or soy products. And soy products, you guys, I'm not anti-soy, but a majority of the soy products that we are exposed to here in the United States are genetically modified and sprayed down with pesticides. And of course, that gets into our body and gives our body all sorts of signals that are not natural. So if you're going to eat soy, I would make sure that it is organic, it's non-GMO. Fermented soy, tempeh are good options, but for me, I don't really enjoy the taste of soy regardless, so I just don't eat soy. But definitely that when people, especially those of you that have dealt with breast cancer, whether in your own life or in a loved one's life, you know that estrogen is that hormone that you are really scared of, that you don't want it to be dominant. And so you learn to stay away from foods that cause that. Now, phytoestrogens are a compound of, they're basically, well, it's plastic. They're compounds that get into your body that chemically look like estrogen. So what that means is that, let's go back to when we were little. We had those little squares and triangles and rectangular pegs, right? And if you have a triangle and a triangle hole, you put it in, right? So it's this receptors and cells are the same way. You have receptors that only will take certain shapes that go into that receptor. And once that receptor is taken up, it turns on a whole process in a cell. So that's what phytoestrogens do. They fit into that receptor that estrogen does and causes the same thing. So our fat cells have estrogen. And so there are so many different signals that can be caused from estrogen dominance. So retaining fat is definitely one of those that a lot of you care about learning. So long story short, I want to make this video as quick as possible, but I just want to tell you, if you understand the why I ask you to eliminate certain foods and see how you feel, if you understand the why, you're more than likely to be like, okay, this isn't just rules and regulations. This is, she asked me to not eat meat, or if I'm going to eat meat, I make sure that it's grass-fed, grass-finished. And that's hard to find. Even in California, I had a hard time finding grass-fed, grass-finished meat, because more times than not, if it says grass-fed, it was finished off with grains. There's just, oftentimes it's best to just go with the wild caught fish, honestly. But if we can avoid conventionally raised meat, alcohol, increase your amount of fiber, because the fiber in your body helps get rid of excess estrogen. And the average American diet definitely does not have enough fiber. We get fiber in Shakeology. I get fiber from my vegetables. I have a supplement that I put in my Shakeology that gives me extra fiber. I also have a fiber supplement that I will take called PGX. So I make sure that I get enough fiber every day, but this is why when you have a balanced meal, whether you're eating 2 or 3 meals every day, you're making sure that it has healthy fat, protein, fiber, and non-starchy vegetables, right? So that there's a reason why, because this combination tells our body hormonal happiness messages, if you will. All right. So that being said, I will make sure that I answer all the questions that are left in the comments below, but I just wanted to give you a quick and skinny on estrogen dominance and why I ask you to eliminate alcohol and conventionally raised red meat during this period. And I want you to see how you feel on it, because I bet a lot of you do have underlying estrogen dominance. So thank you for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.